If you're hosting workshops, trainings, or group coaching calls on Zoom, you should not be using Zoom Webinar. I know this sounds counterintuitive, but you should instead be using Zoom meetings. And here's why. Number one, the audience can see you and you can see them. The other reason, the audience can also see each other. And those two things alone make a room feel more engaging, more than anything else inside of a webinar room. And the real problem with Zoom webinars is there's no social proof. Inside of a Zoom webinar, you can see how many participants have shown up, but your attendees can't. They don't see faces, they don't feel the energy, they don't realize the room is full. And that destroys social proof. Think back to a conference where two sessions were happening at the same time. One, the room was packed, standing room only, people squeezed into the back. The other room was half empty. Which session would you choose? Exactly. That's the power of social proof. And webinar completely removes it. The other problem with webinar is the registration page, because this is where most hosts lose people before the event even starts. Zoom's registration page is ugly and doesn't convert. It looks like a generic form, no branding, no clarity, no excitement. A webinar is an invitation to an experience, but Zoom's default feels like paperwork. And paperwork doesn't motivate people to register. A better way to register people for a webinar or a workshop or a training is to use a funnel like ClickFunnels or Go High Level Funnels. When you use a funnel, you control the design. You can match your branding. You can add videos, persuasive copy, build excitement, showcase outcomes, collect higher quality leads, track your conversions, and pre-qualify your buyers. And your funnel becomes the front door to your event. And unlike Zoom's default page, a well-built funnel is designed to convert, which means more registrations, more engagement, and more sales. This is exactly how we do it here at Spark Event Studios for every single event, because it works. And here's something else you don't get with Zoom's built-in registration. Real analytics. You can see who registered, which ads brought them in, who clicked but didn't register, and who registered and actually showed up. This data helps you improve your events over time and increase your conversions. And that's how you build events that scale. Now, there is one common mistake that people make, and it's whether or not you should have the password or the waiting room. If you want, go to the comments right now and tell me, do you use passwords on your Zoom meetings? Got your answer? Good. Because this might sound counterintuitive, but if you said no, you're wrong. You should be using passwords. And here's why. Zoom requires at least one security option, either a waiting room or a password. So if you don't use a password, Zoom forces you to use the waiting room, which means every time somebody joins, you manually have to admit them. During a live event, that slows things down. Or worse, you leave people stuck outside the room. But when you use a password, you can completely disable the waiting room, and attendees never type the password. It automatically is added to the event link. So using a password makes your event faster and easier for them to join. So what are you going to do for your next event? In your next event, you should definitely make sure you're using Zoom meetings, not webinar. Use a funnel registration page, not Zoom's default form, and use a Zoom password so you can disable the waiting room. When you do these things immediately, your engagements, your interactions, and your attendance will improve immediately. And if you want to take your virtual events to the next level, watch the video linked right here. And I'll show you how you can use Ecamm, the exact software we use at Spark Event Studios, to dramatically improve the quality of your content delivery. It's simple, powerful, and once you learn how to use it, your virtual events will look and feel completely different. If you liked this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.